I was grieving and I was broken, and I cried so hard that I cried myself to sleep. And somewhere in my sleep, I heard something speaking to me, and it asked one question: do you want to see her? Your dead sister, do you want to see her? I woke up in terror. My heart was racing, it was beating so fast. And the first thing I noticed, my door was open. But I had closed it before I went to bed. Right there and then, I knew something had been in my room with me, and it was definitely not from God. What happened after that night almost destroyed my life. And because I didn't run to God, my fear drove me somewhere I never imagined I would go. Hi, I'm Tadana, and I'm not here to preach at you. I'm here to show you exactly what the devil did to me, his tactics, his timing, and his traps. Because if you can see how he worked on me, you will recognize him when he comes for you. So stay with me, because this story is going to change how you see fear forever. Brokenness doesn't always look dangerous. Sometimes it looks like grief, it looks like loneliness, or even pain. But if you are not careful, it can open doors you never meant to open. So I had gone to uni, and one night I watched a movie called The Fault in Our Stars. It's about two cancer patients who fall in love, and later the boy dies. That movie triggers something deep within me. My sister had passed away from cancer, and that night I broke down. I cried so hard until I slept. I think I actually fell asleep crying. But that night, something happened. I don't know whether it was a thought or a voice, but I was asked one question: do you want to see her? Your dead sister, do you want to see her? I woke up in fear and my heart was beating so fast. And the first thing I noticed was that my door was open. But I remembered clearly that I had closed it before going to bed. And right there and then, I knew something was wrong. Not everything spiritual is from God. I quickly got up, closed the door, picked up my phone, and I called my dad. I told him everything that had happened, and he advised me to read about spiritualism. So I did. But what I read made things worse. I learned that demons, familiar spirits, imitate our loved ones to draw you in. And I knew immediately that what I had experienced was definitely not from God. Fear took over me completely. I was afraid to close my eyes. I was afraid of what I would hear. I was afraid of what would be waiting for me in the dark. I was exhausted, but sleep felt like danger. So I did what any broken person does. I looked for anything that would make the fear stop. I know someone is watching this right now and you can't sleep. You are exhausted, but something is keeping you awake. You don't even know what you're afraid of anymore. I see you. I just want you to know that I've experienced this. It got so bad that I would go to my friend's room and ask them to watch me while I slept. And instead of things getting better, they got worse. I finally opened up to someone, a youth from church, someone I trusted. Remember, I was vulnerable, I was desperate, I just needed someone to help me. Of course, the right way. Instead, he reached into his pocket, pulled out a blunt of weed. He looked at me like it was the most normal thing in the world, like this was the answer to my pain. And in that moment, I was so broken, so tired, and so desperate for the fear to stop that I didn't even walk away. I used to crave weed, especially at night, because it helped me forget. Those nights were the only nights I wouldn't cry, no anxiety, no grieving, just silence and sleep. But the nights I didn't smoke, they were completely different and terrifying. So fear would take over. All I could see in my mind was my sister opening the door or standing right beside me, or I would imagine if I see her, how would I react? It just felt so real. In my other video, I shared how I admired the dead and how I saw the grave as a place of perfect peace. But I went from admiring the dead to fearing the dead. And that's how the enemy works. If he can't trap you one way, he will try another. If comfort doesn't keep you, fear will, because fear always works. Fear doesn't need proof, it only needs your imagination. And once it takes hold, it feels so real enough to control you. It distorts everything, it turns memories into thoughts, it turns silence into something terrifying. And before you know it, you are not running toward healing anymore, you're running back to what numbs the fear. That's why fear is such a powerful weapon. It doesn't just scare you, it drives you. Now, let me explain something. In Genesis 4 verse 7, God tells Cain that sin is crouching at the door and it desires to have him. The devil is like a lion, and if you have ever watched a lion hunt, you understand that the devil doesn't chase his prey immediately. He lies low, eyes locked on his prey. He studies the movement, the weakness, and the moment the prey is separated from the pack, he waits patiently, sometimes for years, because he knows the right moment is coming. And when it comes, he doesn't miss. He saw me growing up in church. I became a deaconess at around 13 or 14 years old. I was involved in Bible quizzes as a pathfinder. I was singing in church. My family always said I was a preacher in the making. Now, how was I, a preacher in the making, going to open up to my father or any Adventist and say that I was afraid of the dead? When we believe so strongly in the state of the dead that when someone dies, they are asleep, they know nothing, they have no connection with the living. So what would that say about me? I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed, like something was wrong with my faith. Because how do you explain fear when your beliefs tell you there's nothing to fear? So I kept quiet. I carried it alone. I fought it in silence night after night. But now when I look back, I regret it because I realized I didn't have to suffer like that. I could have been helped. I could have been covered. I could have been freed sooner. And I know I'm not the only one. There is someone watching this right now. You are afraid of the dark. You're afraid of the dead, afraid of what you might see or feel when you're alone. And you've been keeping it to yourself. Please don't. Silence is where fear grows. Isolation is where it grows stronger. Talk to someone, open up, bring it into the light, because the moment you speak about it, it starts to lose its power. So even when I got baptized for the wrong reasons, he still watched me closely and patiently. See, the devil is aggressive, but patient at the same time. And when I was at my weakest, when I was grieving, I was broken and vulnerable, that's when he struck. The day I accepted that blunt, something shifted. I didn't know it then, but I had just opened a door. Not with a key, not with a choice I fully understood, but with my pain and my desperation, with my need for the fear to stop. I surrendered my will to the wrong master, and he accepted immediately. One blunt led to another, day after day, and that opened even more doors. I thought I was using sin to find happiness, not realizing sin was using me. My body had become a host. That was not real happiness. I always say, the devil does not give what he does not have. He can't give you peace. He can't give you joy. He can't give you happiness. So even when you run to what he offers, it doesn't take the pain away. You keep going back, but nothing changes. Your situation doesn't change. Your state doesn't change. Instead, it gets worse. He begins to torment you with guilt, shame, and confusion. And when that emptiness is there, it only creates room for more darkness. If you have ever wondered why things seem to multiply, why one struggle leads to another, this is why. My brokenness opened the door, and what I thought would help me led me deeper into bondage. I believe I'm speaking to someone who has lost a loved one, someone who has lost a job, someone who has been separated from family, going through a divorce, struggling with being childless, someone dealing with a broken home. Is it a broken marriage or even all forms of abuse? This list is endless because that was me too. My problems were many. I was broken, and in that brokenness, the devil trapped me with a blunt. So let me ask you, what is the devil trapping you with? Is it anger, unforgiveness? Is it adultery, alcohol? Are you smoking weed too? Because brokenness, if it's not handled the right way, it can push you to do things you never imagined. There is a man who never thought he would raise a hand against his wife, but now he does. A young girl who never saw herself sleeping around, but now she is. Are you a mother filled with so much anger and unforgiveness toward your husband? Couples going their separate ways, all because something broke inside. If this is you, if you have done these things or you are doing them right now, I need you to hear this clearly. Your brokenness is leading you into sin. And that door you opened is giving the devil access to do what he wants. Take a moment and be honest with yourself, because denial is also a trap. From the day you were born, the enemy has been studying you. He is very patient. He's been watching, and he knows exactly when you are most vulnerable. And he didn't rush with me either. He waited. And when I was broken enough, he made his move. One blunt, was just the beginning. What came next, I never saw coming. And honestly, I'm still not sure if I'm ready to talk about it, but part 2 is coming. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss it. And please don't go through this alone. Talk to someone. Reach out, get help. Thank you so much for watching my video. I'll see you in the next one.